Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about exactly how I grew my curly hair from this to this. To give you some backstory, my entire life, I'm 31 now, I have tried to grow my hair long or just past my shoulders, and I have struggled at every hurdle. I've gone through periods of wearing extensions and trying to come up with hacks to make my hair appear longer, and it's only until the last year or 2 years that I've really noticed the growth in my hair. I've been getting comments on my Instagram like, oh my god, how have you suddenly grown your hair? Your hair's gotten so long. And just a disclaimer, I'm not a certified trichologist. I'm taking you along on my personal hair journey. However, a lot of the reading I've done and the advice I've taken that has really worked has come from trichologists, and I will make sure to link anything that I'm referencing in the description. By the end of this video, you'll have a very good understanding of the things that might be limiting your hair growth or preventing you from seeing length, but more importantly, a more realistic idea on how you're actually going to be able to grow your hair. That isn't some magic pill or overnight treatment, because let's be honest, it's just ridiculous. You're not going to grow your hair overnight, of course. This is going to take time. And once we can accept that this is going to take some time, we can start to incorporate those small habits into our day-to-day or into our weeks that are eventually going to add up to us being able to grow our hair and retain our length. Let's get into the video. Okay, first of all, let's start by addressing some of the confusion out there. There are different camps of people saying different things. This is one thing that you might hear regularly. Stop cutting your ends off because you're just cutting off the growth. This will result in people not wanting to go and get trims and not cutting their hair regularly or at all. And then the other thing that you might hear a lot is regular trims make your hair grow faster. This might result in someone going to get regular trims every 6 weeks because they think that their hair's going to grow faster. So here we're confusing two separate factors that both contribute to hair growth, but most people are only focusing on one: scalp care and ends care. For example, you might be really looking after your scalp and you're always noticing your root color moving, and you're constantly having to get your hair dyed because your hair is growing like weeds out of your scalp, but you're not looking after the ends of your hair, so your ends are just breaking off and you're just not noticing the length. But you have nailed the scalp care. Ends care. You might always look after your ends and you might not ever really use heat on your hair, and you put nice nourishing like products on the ends of your hair, and you don't typically see split ends, but you don't wash your hair effectively. You're not really looking after your scalp. You neglect it in some way, so you don't have the best scalp environment for growth, but somehow you are retaining the length and ends of your hair. So whilst there is some truth in trimming your hair too much will cut off all your growth, the ends ultimately need to be trimmed if they're split and damaged, because if they're left unattended, the split end will travel up the hair shaft and you'll end up losing more of your length because you will lose hair from breakage. So actually trimming it where that split end starts and getting those regular trims will result in you retaining the length. But obviously, if you are looking after the lengths of your hair and you're not repeatedly putting heat on it and you're actually doing things to kind of seal your hair and look after it at night, then you're not going to need to keep going for these regular trims and cutting your length just for the sake of cutting it. And this point actually explains why some people say regular trims makes your hair grow faster. They're just not saying it right. What they're trying to say is regular trims actually help you retain your length, and also getting your hair cut at the bottom can sometimes make your hair look denser and thicker, and it can give you the appearance of healthier, potentially longer hair because you've got that density at the bottom and your hair's not straggly. But getting your hair trimmed regularly has nothing to do with the hair growing out of your scalp. Two separate things. So now we've addressed some of the confusion. I'm going to be telling you exactly what I did to actually promote length retention and my scalp care, which I believe has contributed to actually seeing growth this time. When I look back over my hair and like pictures of me over the last 10, 15 years, I've noticed that my hair has always had quite severe breakage. And I think that has been one of my key problems, is like not addressing the breakage and not having a routine that's actually gonna keep the ends of my hair healthy. So as you guys know, and if you've watched some of my videos, I've started embracing my curly hair over the last 3 years now, but mainly for the last 2. My hair was extremely damaged and brittle before. It was quite short. I didn't really have a proper curl in my hair. I had lost all of my curls, and this was due to straightening my hair very often, sometimes daily, blow drying my hair, just general heat really. Also coloring my hair, bleaching it, and all of those things. And right now, mid 2023, I really do feel like I've come a long way with my hair. The number one thing I did was reduce heat. So I stopped straightening my hair as a way to style my hair every day. And I made sure that I started using products in my hair that were going to maintain a certain style that I was happy with for the week, so that I didn't feel like I needed to keep retouching up my hair in some way or another, like re-straightening it, re-curling it. I just tried to completely eliminate heat in that regard, but I did still diffuse my hair. But because of my new routine of styling my curls and locking in my curl shape, it's meant that I can like do my wash day and then maintain my style over the week, or at least like 4 days, knowing how to protect my hair at night and things. And then when it comes to refreshing, it's just a case of applying a few products to my hair rather than applying heat to my hair to refresh it or restyle it. So reducing the heat on my hair, which at one point was every single day, and coming up with a styling routine which helped me enjoy and love my curls, is probably the number one thing that has caused length retention. I will link up here a full step-by-step styling routine that I love to use to get maximum definition and volume that really helps my curls last as long as possible. If you're someone watching this that has been embracing their curly or wavy hair for some time, but you're still wondering why you can't retain your length and you're not even using heat, I recommend you maybe look into mechanical damage to make sure that the things that you're doing in your routine aren't resulting in breakage. For example, brush styling. I recently shared a video on my YouTube why I no longer brush curl my hair, you know, like Denman curling around the handle and several techniques like this, because a lot of this is to do with mechanical damage and recognizing that our hair is very fragile while wet, and we do need to kind of limit what we are doing to manipulate it in the styling stage. So if you feel like you could actually be creating mechanical damage by accident on your hair, I highly recommend looking at this video after you've watched this one so you can understand how to limit this damage during your styling routine. I just accidentally spilt my drink down my top. So please just ignore that for now. Another thing that's really helped with my length retention is the products I use. I typically like to use products with plant oils or silicones in them because they do help soften the hair, and they create some sort of film around the hair which really helps to actually preserve and retain your curls. They also help lock in the frizz, which means that my hair is more locked into that curl shape and it's less susceptible to like the environment and getting caught in things. So all of these things really help. And a lot of my products actually have a UV filter in them, and most of those seem to be the ones with silicones in. So anything you can put on your hair to help from environmental elements and like damaging your hair is obviously a good thing. But simply locking my hair in and smoothing the frizz has just helped me preserve my hair, meaning that I'm having to touch it less throughout the week, which brings me on to my next point, which is sleep protection. Protecting my hair at night and working out how to do that effectively has got to be one of the best things that I've learned throughout this healthy hair journey. It saves me so much time, but most importantly, I am retaining my length and the health of my hair. I always sleep on silk or satin, and if I go anywhere else, like sleeping in a hotel or an Airbnb or something, my silk or satin pillowcase is coming with me. Sleeping on silk or satin means that your hair is going to glide along the pillow. There's not going to be friction caused, which can commonly be caused on like cotton and other materials that also dry out your hair. So when your hair is gliding across, it's going to be preserved in its state almost, and you're going to retain and like keep some of that moisture in your hair. So that is one massive thing that's helped me. And also just putting silk or satin around your neck, like a silk or satin scarf when you're like drying your hair, or putting your scarf on the back of your car seat while driving, anywhere where your hair is prone to friction or breakage. That has really just helped me in general preserve my hair and protect it. I also at night put my hair up in a big satin scrunchie, and then I clip in my hair around the scrunchie to preserve my curls. Whilst this might sound like a lot of work, it's really not, and it has been so key in helping me keep my curls in place for as long as possible. I'll link a video up here on exactly how I pin my curls up at night. It's super easy. I've had so many people say this has worked for them as well. Let me know in the comments if this ends up working for you, because I'm someone that really doesn't like having something on my head at night, like a bonnet or a scarf. So I really do like to do this method, as well as sleeping on the silk pillowcase. My hair lasts so long, guys. Another thing that I do to really help retain my length and look after the ends of my hair is I do get my hair trimmed when I see damage. If I see a lot of split ends all of a sudden, I will go and get that booked in. I won't just avoid it because, as I was saying earlier, split ends can travel up the hair shaft very easily. However, if it's just one or two, and I don't know if this is great advice, but I will just trim it myself. Like if I see a split end that I'm like, that's starting to travel up, I can see it, it's quite a long split end, I'm just gonna cut that off where it starts. But I don't know if that is the best advice, but it's helped me. And I do think with curly hair, you can sometimes get away with it. Like no one's gonna really notice if you've got a wonky bit, do you know what I mean? It all kind of blends in together. But again, my hairdresser would probably tell me not to do that, but it's helped me. And the last thing I'm going to mention in terms of retaining my length and looking after my ends is hair masks and bonding treatments. So I do think these things are important, but I don't think they are the be all and end all of everything. You know, I think everything I've mentioned up until this point is so important, but this is like the icing on the cake, because a bonding treatment's not going to just miraculously bring your hair back to life, but a bonding treatment is something that you should add into your routine to just maximize your chances at looking after the health of your hair and the lengths of it. For example, if my hair is ever a bit over moisturized or I'm feeling like my hair is limp, after cleansing my hair well and going in with a bonding treatment, I do actually see a difference. I see my hair springing up again. But in terms of like things like shine and how your hair is visibly feeling like the softness of it, bonding treatments specifically aren't going to really do that because they actually help on a molecular level. It's not something that you're going to visibly notice immediately, but it's just one of those things that you can add into your routine, which is going to help support the health of your hair as a whole. Let's talk about scalp care, because hair growth is coming from the scalp. It's coming out of your hair follicles. And if you don't have a healthy scalp environment, then you might not see much growth, or you might see a lot of hair fall. Now, again, as I mentioned, I am not a trichologist, I'm not a professional, but I have done a lot of reading from other trichologists, and those things that I've taken from them and implemented into my routine have worked personally for me. So all of these things are very individual, but I'm just going to tell you what has worked for me. And I know this one might raise some eyebrows. I have been washing my hair more. There are a lot of myths out there around washing your hair and how much you should be washing it. It is different for everyone. Everyone is unique. However, if you start to experience some of these signs, it's time to wash your hair. If your head is starting to itch and it's quite itchy and your head feels uncomfortable, it feels dirty, it needs to be washed. An oily or dirty scalp environment is the perfect environment for yeast or bacteria, and things like that are going to result in dandruff or maybe other scalp conditions. Your scalp does want to be cleaned fairly regularly. A lot of people don't like to shampoo their hair regularly. It's because they're under the impression that they're stripping the natural oils from their hair. But actually, after shampooing, oils are restored quite rapidly. Actually, they come back very quickly. Actually, strip is a very harsh word and not really relevant to the shampoos that we have in this day and age. Like, we typically don't have extremely stripping shampoos. We often have shampoos that cleanse effectively, but they have other ingredients in them that help make that less of a severe cleansing process. Instead of giving you any more of my personal opinions on this shampoo discussion, I'm just going to quote a trichologist, also brand president of Philip Kingsley, a very good brand, by the way, Annabelle Kingsley. And a lot of what I've learned has actually come from her and reading some of her work. So let me just read this out to you. So to summarize what she's saying here is that a lot of people actually think that they need to keep their hair oily and greasy with their natural oils for as long as possible because the oils travel down the hair and moisturize the hair. She's saying that's incorrect because actually the oil molecules are too big to be able to do that to our hair. And actually shampooing your hair doesn't strip your hair of oils because oils are replenished very rapidly, very quickly back into the hair. And she's also kind of debunking here the point around shampooing being bad for the hair. What she's saying is that if your routine requires styling because you've got very thick, coarse hair and you typically like to straighten and blow dry your hair, of course, daily shampooing or just regular shampooing in general is then going to result in that styling routine, and that styling routine is going to be the thing that keeps damaging your hair, not the shampooing. But obviously, if the daily washing requires you to enter into that damaging styling routine, then shampooing your hair every day is bad, but the shampooing isn't the cause. Hopefully that makes sense. So I won't sit here and say you need to start washing your hair every single day, because this is a time issue as well. Not everyone has time to do that, but not everyone needs to do that. We are all individual, and just pay attention to the signs. If your hair's really itchy and you're like feeling like, God, my head feels uncomfortable, I need to wash it. You need to wash it, right? Don't try to prolong it. There's no prize to be won. There's no benefits for letting oil sit on your scalp for long periods of time. As I just quoted from Annabelle Kingsley, she does actually say here, you should not leave your hair more than 3 days between shampoos. Take from that what you will. It's up to you at the end of the day. So yes, to summarize, since I've been cleaning my hair more, I have noticed my scalp to be healthier. And I do think this is one of many things that have contributed to me growing my hair longer. Let's talk about scalp oiling. All over my TikTok feed at the moment, and quite literally all my social media feeds, is like rosemary oil your scalp. Like, the thing that got my hair to grow from this to this is oil. Is it though? I don't know. Okay, so like here is an example when like I'm obviously not qualified in this subject. I have personally seen, and I do use oils in my routine, but I use them for a specific purpose. So I typically use an oil on my scalp once a week. I use it as a way to massage my hair to get that dead skin up to then clean in the shower. So I'm not putting that oil on my scalp to like suddenly get all this magic hair growth. I'm doing it for the purpose of lifting up a bit of that scalp debris, if that makes sense. And then I'm obviously going in and washing it. I'm not leaving oils on my scalp at night. What I do know to be fact is that yeast thrives in an oily environment. So you will not find me going to bed with oil treatments on my scalp or leaving masks and treatments in my hair, because bacteria in general does thrive in a wet environment. So that is one thing I'll never do, is go to bed with treatments in my hair. They always will be washed out, and I will always go to bed with my hair dry. I personally have not seen any magical hair growth from oiling my scalp, but I have seen it as helping me lift off that debris and any of the dirt on my scalp, and it has made it easier for me to wash it, and it has also made my ends look shinier and appear healthier. I do think that it's possible that the reason that a lot of people see such great results using things like rosemary oil on their scalp is because rosemary oil, I believe, is like an anti-inflammatory ingredient. Like, it can help reduce inflammation and other conditions. I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure there is like pain relieving elements in rosemary. I might be wrong here. So what I'm thinking is, if an individual has already got issues like inflammation on their scalp or other issues, then actually, since applying the rosemary oil, they may have had less of that inflammation or less of that thing that was causing them to not have a healthy scalp environment and was preventing them from being able to grow their hair long. Applying that rosemary oil has just aided a healthier environment in that sense. But I feel like everyone suddenly applying rosemary oil to their scalp, it's not going to be great for everyone. I don't think it is for everyone. So just make sure you do your research. If you've got scalp issues, obviously be going to a dermatologist or a professional so you can get that tailored advice, because we're all so different. But yeah, I will use oil here and then on my scalp, maybe once a week when I wash it, to help get off that debris. And also, I just feel like it's quite a nice experience to sometimes massage oil into your hair to get the blood flow to the scalp. But I don't know. Another thing that people swear by to help with hair growth is using a scalp massager, you know, the thing in the shower that you do like this to help distribute your shampoo and get in there into your scalp. I think that they can help exfoliate, but I think you've got to be really careful that you're not really using them too hard. I think all they're helping with really is like blood flow and a slight exfoliation, and that in turn is going to help with things like hair growth and a healthy scalp environment. But if you're using them wrong or too aggressively, they're literally going to do the opposite. I think you could actually probably damage your skin barrier. I'm not sure, but like I have accidentally gone a bit too hard before and it's like been a bit sore to touch. So obviously be careful you're not doing that. Also, when you're using them in the shower, make sure that the result of you doing that is not completely ripping and tangling that top layer of your hair, because then you're just going to cause breakage, and then we're back onto the topic about length maintenance and damaging our actual hair. So everything I've mentioned so far have been the key things that I've done externally to help with my hair growth and help retain my length. But one of the key things here is internally. It's nutrition, health in general, stress levels. I think we're going to have the best environment for healthy hair growth if we are looking after ourselves internally. And I'm talking about stress levels, I'm talking about nutrition, what we're eating. And obviously I'm not qualified in this area. I can't sit here and tell you what to eat suddenly. That's something you need to go and figure out. But if I just tell you personally, like what I've noticed. So I'd say over the last year, I have really nailed my foods. Like I'm getting in a lot of nutritious food and way more balance than I typically used to get in my diet. I've just been much more conscious of this as I've gotten a little bit older. Since I entered my 30s, I suddenly became hyper aware of my fitness levels, and I do work out regularly. I try to eat a balanced, healthy diet. And it could be the fact that since I've been introducing more nutrition and balance into my routine, that I've had a healthier scalp and that I've suddenly noticed the hair growth. So you can never really truly understand what has been the main cause of your hair growth, because there's a lot going on internally that we can't see day to day and we're not aware of. So that's always something to bear in mind, that it could be a deficiency. Make sure you're always going to your doctor to check up on these things. Like if you feel like you could be deficient in something, because our hair growth can be the result of a lot of internal things. And the last thing I'm going to leave you with is time and patience. And I feel like I say this a lot and no one wants to hear this part, but things take time. Every small little change that you make adds together and everything contributes to that change happening. There have been times when I've just been frustrated because I'm like, oh, my hair's not growing, I'm doing everything right. And now I look back over time and I'm like, wow, my hair's actually grown a lot. And time is the biggest factor. You have to be patient with it. Implement these little things into your routine. Try to get to the bottom of things if you feel like you've got deficiencies or something not quite right and just something that isn't normal to you. Obviously go to a professional and get that addressed. And with these other things, hopefully you can achieve long, healthy hair. Another thing that I should mention is I didn't really see a lot of growth for a while, because the healthier my hair was, the curlier my hair was getting, because my natural curl pattern was coming back. So obviously I had a lot more shrinkage, and so I wasn't noticing the growth. It felt like my hair was getting shorter, but when it was wet I could really obviously see how long it was getting, and that's what I was using to compare my hair. I was never really comparing my hair length progress when it was dry, because one day I might have had more shrinkage than the other. I was always measuring it when it was wet, pulling it down at the back or on the side to see if I can notice difference. So if you're not really noticing your hair growth at the moment, but you know your hair is healthier, maybe it's got curlier and maybe it is growing, but your hair is just springing up more. I thought I'd end this video by just showing you right now in this moment how long my hair actually is. I'm just going to pull it down at the back. So I feel like it's so hard to tell like this, but let me just stand. So it is there, and I leave it spring up, it's there. So it's quite long, look. And that is how I feel like I've grown my hair over the last few years, and all of the tips and tricks that I have learned from various people that have personally worked for me. As I mention all the time, we're all very different. What works for me might not work for you, but here are my honest opinions and things I really think are the true contributors to healthy hair growth. If you want to find out exactly how I got my hair back from damage, click this video here. And if you want my latest styling routine and how I style my hair on a weekly basis, click this video here. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really hope you found the video helpful. If you did, please like it and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more curly content from me. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.